Okay folks, MBS again, surprise surprise. If you watched my where did the brake fluid go, you know why I'm sitting here about to do the rear brake shoes. Getting the drum off the Hilux, pretty easy. You just put two 10mm bolts into the threaded holes and you should just about be able to use the bolts to pull the drum off. You just keep screwing the bolts in, the drum will extract, yeah? So we should be at the stage there, yeah, there we go, and off it comes. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick if you can't get the drum off. Like the first time we looked at this when we were looking for the leak, the drum did not come off. It was taking the shoes with it. So we needed to back the adjuster off in here. And I'll give you a close look here of the adjuster and you'll see the problem. You have to somehow get the adjuster off. When we did this the other day, just could not do it. The adjuster could not lift this up to free it off the indentations here on that wheel. So what I had to do is I got myself a little pick like this. I put it through the adjustment hole at the back, underneath the adjuster, and then I could push that out of the way. And at the same time, using a short little adjuster, I was able to get the adjuster in there and back this wheel off. This is as far as you want to go in your initial strip down. Just take the drum off like I did on the left hand side, and I showed you how to retract that adjuster if you had to. This one came off nice and easy. At this point in time, you want to compare your parts, make sure they're going to fit, yeah? Now I got all this kit from onlineautoparts.com.au, full kit, new drum, new shoes, wheel cylinder, adjuster, and your spring kit. Now why am I fitting all of this? When I did the brake inspection, all I found was the brake shoes worn, yeah? Look guys, if you're doing a brake job, do the whole damn thing. Why put in a set of shoes that could last another 5 or 10 years? I'll tell you right now, the wheel cylinder isn't going to last 5 or 10 years. So it makes sense to replace it now, while I'm doing all this work. All right? Righto, so we've checked all our parts, everything is good. So first thing we want to do is probably be a good idea to back this adjuster off. It's out a long way, so it's stretching the spring that's going along from shoe to shoe. Might make our job a little easier if I back this off. Now you can use your finger here, just pull that lever out of the way, get your little tiny brake tool, shove it in that slot behind and back it off. When you're looking at this, it's pretty easy to work out how this works. This little lever goes up and down as the brake shoes wear. So it's going to move that wheel when you're looking from behind this way, clockwise. So we've got to turn it anti-clockwise to shrink it back down. Now obviously it could get a little bit tight as you get further and further in because of all the crap on the thread. And that adjuster is so worn out that I could barely use this tool to wind it back. But I mean, look, you could just get a screwdriver in here and push on it if you wanted to. That works too. Okay, but I would strongly advise that you get one of these little tiny fellas like this because there's not much room between the spring and the backing plate. So my long one versions of this didn't work. Or a short screwdriver, but generally straight shafts, you see this has got a curl in it, helps you out a little bit to get it correctly onto the wheel, so makes it easier to undo. Okay, that successfully went in most of the way. Here's another little tool I just bought yesterday, Toledo. It's got one job, take these things off. You could use pliers like I've done for a long time. You can put the plier in here, open them up, push it onto there. Let's see if we can do one, eh? I'll probably sometimes have to use my kneecap to push. I've sort of lost all my strength. And you push in, you grab that pin and you twist it and that pops off, okay? When it's time to put it back together, you'll have fun. All right, if I use this tool, I just hold the pin, push it in, turn it right angles, and it comes out too. So either or. depending what tooling you got. I certainly prefer to use something like that, nice and easy. So we've loosened the shoes from the backing plate. There's no chance I'll get this spring off, and I think it's just be too tight for me. I'll try. Oh, you know, I might actually get that. Oh, I did too. Oh, right. There we go. So now we can, whoop, and there you go. Kaboom! All falls apart. Now we'll just take the handbrake lever off, and that has to just be tilted up like that to get that off. So there you go. Now when you're taking brakes apart, guys, one tool you really need is a flare tool like this. You see, it's not a ring and it's not an open ender. You really need one of these if you're working on your brakes, so you can undo your brake line. If you use an open end spanner, blokes, you will create damage. You will round that nut off. Some of them can be really tight. So open end spanners should not be used on brake fittings or clutch line fittings, that sort of thing. Now obviously you're going to lose brake fluid. If you don't want to lose any brake fluid, you could always clamp off this line on the differential housing. You get a proper clamp off tool for brake hose, and you can stop the leak. I'm going to get a container to catch the oil, brake fluid as it comes out. Undo the two 10mm bolts at the back, and that'll get your wheel cylinder off. Now this thread is tight all the way till it comes off, so this is going to be fun to see if it matches up. It might be just tight. Yeah, it's tight on the shaft itself. So that's the wheel cylinder off. We'll have to try and see if we can smooth this out a little bit so it's not so tight, because that will cause you problems when you go to put it back together if this nut does not run smoothly on that tubing. You'll think you've got the thread started when you actually haven't, and then you'll end up stripping the thread. Okay, so that's basically all apart. We'll get some brake clean, we'll wash all this up, clean it up, okay, and then we'll put the new wheel cylinder on, and then we'll attack the brakes. There we go, all cleaned up. Now we'll get this new wheel cylinder in there. Now the important thing here is to get this thread started. Do not bolt the wheel cylinder in at this point in time. Get this thread going and make sure that you have got it several threads in, which I have. I've virtually screwed that all the way into the wheel cylinder. Easy as. Guys, if you bolt this in and then try and put your pipe on, you just won't do it. Yeah, it just, you will strip the thread because you won't get it aligned properly. I've done this many times, and you must bolt that in while the wheel cylinder is loose if you can. Now it's just a matter of getting these holes lined up and the thread started. Now whether you've chosen to keep your brake fluid, stop it from leaking out or not, it's up to you, but we're doing a complete brake flush on this. Boy, I'm not going to waste my time doing a whole brake job on a car and then keep the old shitty brake fluid. Now these are only small bolts, guys, don't tighten the absolute crap out of them. Now we use our flare spanner to do the brake line up. Okay, straighten our slot up so it's pointing straight up and down, and we're set to go. We need to replicate that onto the new setup. So we need to take all this contraption off, and if you turn the shoe over you'll see there's a spring in here. and we get a new spring in the kit. We get a new adjuster. Now this adjuster must be fitted onto the correct wheel. Okay, there is a left and right hand thread on this. You put the adjuster in the wrong place, it ain't gonna work, is it? So make sure that when you spin this in the direction it's going to spin, that this rod comes out. Okay, it unscrews. Alright, so we have got the correct one on this side when it's fitted. Now remember, looking towards the front of the vehicle, this is going to turn clockwise. Okay, on the other side this is going to be fitted this way, yeah? And if you were to turn that way clockwise, it jams up. It's because of the thread, it's going the opposite direction. So yeah, make sure you get these in the right side, otherwise yeah, you will be in trouble. Alright, let's pull this apart. We don't need that anymore because we're not using the adjuster. We want to get this little fellow off, so we want to take this spring off and we can just unhook it. Or I've got a better idea. Why go to all that trouble? Let's just take this little circlip out here. Now don't throw that circlip, because you don't get another one. There we go, that was easier to undo it like that. Okay, and we can throw that bit away. Now we've got that horseshoe type of clip to get off. So you've got to spread this, find something that'll fit in there to start the spread. Usually a little screwdriver. I would normally do this in a vise. Okay, once you've got it started, move up to a bigger screwdriver. Right, I'm going to go over to the vise, I'll be back. I mean, all I'm doing is trying to spread that, that'll just fall apart, this arm will come off. Well, there you go, 2 seconds in the vise and it's out. Alright, and then I end up using these. I just spread it and off it comes. Okay, now that should come off. And that's it. And we'll duplicate it on the new setup. So we just put it back, like so. Get the new horseshoe, put it in there. And we'll just squeeze that together like so. And that's that bit done. Now we can put this one on. And that just sat in there like so. And went in underneath there. And then we put that little circlip back in. Oh, I put it down there, it is. Almost lost it in the concrete. And that's that bit done. Now we flip it over and I'll put that spring on. Okay, it went like that. And then over into there. Okay. So now we've got that. This little pin comes up like so. So let's get that in there. Maybe I should have put that little adjuster on. Yeah, well there you go. Order of assembly, yeah? Let's get that off. We'll get that on first, then we'll get you on, and then we'll put the circlip on. Yeah? Okay. So now we're going to face that downwards. Oh dear, the sun has caught up with us. Hope this comes out alright in the sun. Righto. Let's get this cable, handbrake cable in here. And then we'll just hook that onto the hook underneath here. And we'll put this up into position like so. Now, holding that up there, we will attempt to get this pin through the back. Have a feel where the hole is. There it is. Put that pin through. spring and that little sucker. And twist it. Well, that was easier to get it on than it was to get it off. Okay, we've got that sitting in the slot. Not quite. That slot has, there we go, now she's in the wheel cylinder correctly. Okay, so that's all on, handbrake lever, yep. Now, we'll put this little spring on at the bottom. There we go, we have to put that in properly at the bottom there. Then we've got the second shoe, we'll clip him on and we'll put him on at the base like so. Now we've just got to get the fork to line up correctly with the shoe when we put this in, and then it's got to go into the wheel cylinder properly. And you can see this wants to keep expanding on us all the time. And we don't really want that to happen. So the easiest way to keep these shoes together is to get this spring on, and it goes like so that the adjuster is sitting in between these two bits, and we'll hook it in at the back. We're going to have to pull this shoe in as well as that one, as well as get the adjuster in. Okay, hopefully the shadow is not going to be real bad for us. If it is, not much I can do about it, I'm afraid. We probably should think about putting these springs in, I guess, just to stop this shoe from falling down all the time. Let's get him through. Line it all up in there. There we go. Now, pair of pliers. This really long screw here now, we can pull these shoes together. Get this adjuster into the right spot. Quite awkward. As soon as I push this one in, the other one goes out. Alright, so I'm going to have to hold my knee here. I have to pull that in there. Got to get that in there, hold that in there, and then grab this spring and hook it and get it hooked in like so, and then just tap it in like so. Okay, we're done. Now, check everything is correct. Okay, they are at a right angle. Right angle. We've got all those bits on. We've got the spring in behind there. We've got it hooked in down here. It's sitting in there correctly. It's sitting in the slots on the pistons. And that's it, guys. Now, before you put your drum on, make sure this is all clean in here. I've already done a pretty good clean of it while I was at it. Still a little bit more rusty bits in there. Because the whole drum is centralised around this hub. Alright, so if this isn't clean, the drum could either wriggle around like that. It's definitely not going to be out of round. The only thing is it might kick a little bit if you've got all dirt and everything sitting on here. So the drum won't sit square to the shoes. Make sure you clean your drum with brake clean, something like that, and that the surfaces have got no of that protective lubricant on it that they use, stop them from rusting. And simple as that. Just as a temporary measure, I'm just going to put 2 wheel nuts on just to hold this drum in place. Now we'll get our little adjuster, come in from behind. Now remember which way this goes from behind. If you're looking forward, it's going to go clockwise. We want to turn this, well obviously we want to turn it clockwise, yeah? So when we put this in the hole, which way are we going to spin it? We're going to start down and spin it up, yeah? Like so. And that'll take the adjuster out. Now the adjuster is going to be at the back of this slot, not at the forward section of the slot. And you can hear it there ratcheting away. And we can't do a full adjustment just yet until we actually get some brake fluid in here and press the pedal a few times to centralise the brake shoe. So don't get too carried away with adjusting this up to your drum because we've still got the additional operation to go. So the sequence basically is adjust it up. You don't have to take it up too far, but you don't want it biting into the drum. Do the same when you do the other side. We'll get it bled with new brake fluid. Once it's bled and there's no air in the system, we've pumped the pedal a few times. The shoes will be centralised against the drum and against the backing plate. Then we can do further adjustments with the wheels on, okay? Because even though I've got this hand tight, the drum will be square, but to be absolutely sure, the wheel should be on when you're doing your final brake adjustment. All right, so I'm going to get some assistance now to bleed the brakes, and then we'll continue on with adjusting. I went at great expense and got myself some clear tubing so you could clearly see what's going on at the wheel cylinder. Now have a look here. This is what we're looking at. Brake fluid coming out of your wheel cylinder. Okay, I have my assistant in the vehicle, down. So what he's doing is pressing the brake pedal and I am releasing. I'll do it up, up. I might just turn that one more. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I think we've pretty well got rid of the brake fluid. Down, up, and now down. And I can't turn the drum, so the wheel cylinders are activating. And it looks like I have got all the air out. Okay, that's it. Take the hose off, and we are done bleeding. So now we finish the brake adjustment and get these shoes to just touch the drum. Yeah, that's what we're listening for. As we turn this around, you'll hear a very fine little scrape. Once you hear that scrape, you're done. Now, don't forget to put these little protective caps back onto your wheel cylinders after you're done. They come with the brand new wheel cylinder, and rear brake bleed is done. Okay, we'll get the adjuster in there. Remember which way we got to turn this? We're going to put the lever down like that and make this wheel in here turn clockwise as you're looking at it from the back. Can you hear that? That is pretty close. I don't think I'll go anymore. Rightio, we'll put the wheel back on and I'll double check that just to make sure it's right. So that's how you adjust your brakes. Fairly easy. till they just rub, and then you're done. Let the self-adjuster do its work after that. All right, so if you haven't quite got it right, the self-adjuster will, over a short period of time, adjust itself and keep the shoes correctly adjusted for you. Okay, final notes. On your backing plate, you probably would have had a little grommet like this over that slotted hole where you adjust your brakes. Make sure you put those little caps back on. That'll just stop the crap coming in from the road, all the dust and grime. Don't forget to top up your master cylinder after you've finished bleeding and adjusting. We used a little bit here, it's down to about there at the moment. I'm not going to top this up because I've got further brake work to do on the front, so we're going to leave that alone this time round. Alright, so the rear is done. Brand new shoes, wheel cylinders and drums. Okay, and a spring kit. Easy as. Alright guys, I hope you got something out of that. I've got more work to do on this on the front, so stay tuned for those to come up in the near future, and we'll catch you in another video.